Hi. Okay, it has been a day. It's just been a day. It has been a wild day. So I decided instead of wallowing in that day, we are going to watch Say Yes to Distress. Or, I guess you guys would call it season 1, episode 6 of Sister Wives, A Fourth Wife to Be. So, hi, I'm Cozy. I like to snark on Sister Wives here on YouTube. I do like to remind you ahead of time that this video is for entertainment purposes only. These are not facts, just opinions about public figures sharing their lives publicly. So, um, I will tell you, I have talked at length about the dress debacle when we did the recap for the look back episode. So if you're new here, I'm not gonna go super deep into that because I don't want to continue to go over the exact same thing over and over and over again because y'all who are returning, you know how I feel about it. So that fortunately was not the only thing to happen. While the other things were slightly less inflammatory, we will leave the screaming match about the dress in the look back episode. So, when the episode opens, Dayton is there looking at what appears to be an Auto Trader magazine. Like, this kid is car shopping, and he's showing Cody different cars he thinks are cool or interesting, and he is ready to get that car and get going. I don't know where he's going, but he's going places, and I'm here for it. But Cody is just like ripping apart like an entire bag's worth of celery. Because this is like the one food that makes a consistent appearance in Robin's home. And it's like an entire event because everybody wants the celery. And I'm laughing to myself. I'm like, Cody's favorite VeggieTales episode was Where's God When I'm Scared, right? Because that one had franken celery in it. So on the couch with the wives, Robin's going on and on about it was such a long engagement and it was such a long courtship and I'm ready to be married. And no one is like looking super excited. No one's smiling. Everybody just sort of seems resigned in a way, I guess. But it's kind of weird because here Robin is like smiley and giggly and happy, and everyone else is kind of much more morose and pensive. Um, and so it just seems like an odd thing juxtaposed next to each other. But Mary's like, Robin joining has definitely shifted things in the family. And she's like, shifted how the family works, shifted how Cody works. And she like pops an eyebrow up. I can't do it or I would do it for you. So we heard recently how Christine had shared that family dynamics changed when Robin came in because Robin was more focused on the individual families and the couples rather than the larger family at whole. And I know somebody brought up in the comments asking a question about that against when Cody and Christine took the kids to Vegas and how she had made some commentary about how it was really important for the smaller family units to get away. And I don't mean to misinterpret your question, comment, any of that. So if I am, I apologize. But you had said something about, do we think that Robin's influence is there? I can't say for sure. But yeah, I think probably a little bit. I think probably Robin would have encouraged, smaller family unit time. Because she did allegedly encourage Cody to do things like shower at Christine's house. But it would also make sense to have smaller family outings for maybe another reason. Like, say, maybe you need to get a wife you're on the outs with to agree to do something that she definitely doesn't want to do. Similar to when Cody took her to Flagstaff to show her Flagstaff for a special trip. And he told her it'll be like your birthday every day if you move to Flagstaff. Anyway, that ties in with my theory on why they moved to Vegas in the first place. I'll hold on to that for that episode, but suffice it to say, I think that little vacation trip was probably more about convincing Christine, much like the Flagstaff trip. History repeating itself. At any rate, we're only 5 minutes in the episode and I'm already getting vastly off topic. But on the couch, Robin is clearly salty when she's like, there's some tension about Cody's time and whether I should get equal time. Equal? Sure. But as we've seen, heard, and understand, it wasn't equal. You were getting the bulk. So how about you huck a potato into that? Because we need to absorb some salt, sweetheart. Just saying. So Janelle jumps in and like, to me, there's really no difference between a fiance and a wife. You're already committed at that point. And Christine's looking at her like, oh, what? And I understand Janelle saying, like, when you've gotten to that point, there's a level of commitment. But I have to side with Christine and Mary, who feel like it's not the same thing. Because you haven't made that marriage covenant yet. And you're not bound by the vows that you make with the church leader and your sister wives and vows that you make before God, right? Understanding that this is religious polygamy. And so because you've not made that yet, because you're not bound yet, you really shouldn't be getting the same benefits as someone who has. Because Christine's like, nope, we are not doing the spending one night out of every 4 with her because we need a level playing field. Everything needs to be just as it was for everybody else because it would be unfair to have, a plural wife come in and not have to follow the rules. Makes perfect sense. And frankly, he should be spending this time with the larger family to make sure that everybody is prepared. The kids are going to need to be able to understand and prepare that, if they were anticipating dad, say, coming on, Wednesday, dad's not coming till Thursday now, if that makes sense. He also needs to make sure that the wives are prepared to shift their schedules, because I'm sure that they had specific things planned out in a specific fashion so that it would be taken care of in the best way possible. But now they have to shift too. And so he really shouldn't be staying the night there either. Listen, Robin's like, I disagree because the courtship was too long. Lady, what? Listen, the rules of your own church say that this is how it should be. And this is the church rules that you tried to use against Christine when she wanted to leave Cody. So I think you maybe should be the one following them now. But you know what? Robin gets what Robin wants, right? That's what this is. Because this whole scene is making me angry because it's disrespectful to the women who followed the proper protocol according to their belief system, according to their family ideal structure, but Robin wants to come and blow it all up. So, Mary's trying to explain her position, and Robin interrupts, and she's like, but I had to move my life and my kids and my job. You don't have a job. And I had to change. Like, Robin, this is very manipulative. And Mary shuts her down about it. She's like, yeah, okay, I understand. You moved, and that's a big deal. But the rest of us are going through a lot of shifting in our own lives, and this is how things need to be. Everyone's life is changing, not just yours. Listen, this is about an entire family that's being uprooted, upended by adding 4 more people and trying to blend traditions and expectations of new people. And Robin says, yeah, I know, but she pulls this face that doesn't seem to match. Like, it's so selfish of her to use this move and her own children against women who are going through their own tough times. So I'm really glad that Mary didn't just go, oh, poor you, and like roll over and show her belly. Good for you, Mary. Stand up for the family. So at the big house, Robin comes up to Mary's door and just goes in. I mean, a lot of people are okay with the just goes in thing, I guess. And she shares there's 5 weeks left to the wedding and then starts listing off all the things they haven't done yet. Like, they don't have any flowers, they don't have a cake, they don't have a venue. I thought this was such a long engagement. How did you not have time to find a venue if it was such a long engagement? And she's like, oh yeah, and dresses for me and everyone else. My brain feels like it's going to fall out of my head. Listen, most people would get this done before the 5-week mark. Like, there was 6 months between getting engaged and getting married. And I definitely didn't put any of that off till the 5-week marker. Listen, I know I'm bad at procrastinating, but geez, oh Pete. So Robin collects up the wives, and we see Aspen holding baby Truly and Christine giving her some instructions. And seeing baby Truly actually made me super furious. And I'll get to why when we get there. But just know it's coming. So, we get Cody invited to the couch now so that he can hear Robin just like talk about how much it must suck for the wives to see that Robin gets to be twinkly and sparkly and planning her wedding and getting married. And once again, originally Mary looks kind of morose, Christine's looking sort of unhappy, and Janelle's got this little smile on her face. And it's like this like frozen smile that Janelle just gets like, yes, I am here. So, in the car with the women, I actually have to admit, I was sort of Freckles. I was sort of surprised that Christine's driving because she is 3 weeks postpartum, and I don't know how it was for everyone else. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. But both deliveries, maybe it's because I had complicated deliveries, they told me, no driving until 6 weeks. And let me tell you, even after that C-section, at 6 weeks, I didn't want to be driving. Thankfully, I didn't really have anywhere to go. I literally spent, pretty much every waking day in the NICU for a while. So I was never alone anyway. But Janelle was like, so what kind of flowers are you thinking about getting? And she specifically mentions that she loves purple spring flowers. And Robin's like, uh-huh. Sort of non-committal. And Robin lets the florist know that they're looking for flowers for a reception. And the florist, being a normal person who just wants to understand the dynamics, is like, and who are these lovely ladies? Frankly, you could have just said their names. Oh, this is Janelle, Christine, and Mary. You didn't have to say anything else. But Robin says the advisors. For a group of women so worried about getting found out, we sure do say some dumb stuff. Because just say family. Literally, you think, oh, they're family. Oh, this is Janelle, Christine, and Mary. You don't have to get in the weeds, guys. So Robin's like, I sat for months trying to figure out how to differentiate them from everyone else. Because, well, Robin was a monogamist before, even if she pretends she wasn't. And she didn't have a great role model for the type of polygamy that the Browns have chosen to live, because her mother and the first wife lived in completely different states. So it looks like Robin's initial plan is for everybody to have a bouquet. And Christine seems sort of exasperated, honestly, when she's like, can I just have a wrist corsage? And Robin's like, really? And she's like, yeah, I'll be holding Truly, and I don't want to be holding Truly and be holding this. And she sounds a little snarky, but when you're watching Christine, she seems agitated, and she is not looking at Robin when she's saying this. She's looking off, like she's looking at Mary and Janelle, possibly of the florist, and explaining it to someone else, not saying it to Robin. And you watch her, and she seems a little disassociated at times, like she's just sort of there. You watch her kind of flipping through the pages of the book, and she's not looking excited. She's not really looking like she cares. I think she was just really, really struggling. But she's explaining her position to everyone else instead. And then everybody, including Christine, finally lights up when they show the florist a picture of the baby. Now, back on the couch, Cody has been subtracted again, and Christine's like, Truly's 3 weeks old. And she sleeps through the night. She's such a miracle baby. She's like, I just want to hold her 24/7. And I get nothing done. And Janelle's like, yeah, I never get to hold the baby because she's always attached to you. And she doesn't say it in a mean way. Just like, give me the baby. And Mary's like, I love that Robin involved us. But I'm trying not to be intrusive. And we know now that Christine did not involve Janelle and Mary in her wedding planning. And I think that did hurt Mary, but I don't think she was trying to necessarily get a dig in at Christine here, because we wouldn't have known that. And she's like, just because I'm the first wife doesn't mean I call all the shots. And nope, it definitely doesn't now. She's like, it's Robin's wedding. Robin calls the shots, which Robin took that last part and ran with it, didn't she? Because she got to taste that power and never let it go. But the florist is like, so you guys are wearing lavender, right? And they correct her and they're like, no, we're wearing brown. And she repeats, wearing brown. And Christine's like, did you say boring brown? Is that what you just said? No, it wasn't, but the look on her face said it, because it's an awful color for this event. Freckles. I'm sorry, guys. This cat is rubbing on everything, and there's cat hair flying through the air. And so as obsessed with purple as Robin is, you'd think the women would be wearing purple. And I have a theory. Well, I have 3 theories as to why that was not the case. Because it seems super purposeful for someone who loves it so much to say no. And so I think it's either 1, that they were not worthy to wear her color. 2, she was worried that they would look really good in purple and didn't want to feel like she was being shown up. Or 3, she leaned way, way too hard into the idea of, oh, our last name is Brown, so we have to make it a wedding color. Hypothetically speaking, let's say that my last name had a color in it, okay? It doesn't, but let's say that it does. Okay. Would that mean that I was required to put that color into my wedding? No. Actually, we didn't have wedding colors. We did like a take on the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So I guess the wedding colors were pastels. I don't know. We really did rely heavily on Alice's blue dress color. So I guess blue. I guess our wedding color was blue. But whatever. You know what? Brown is an awful, awful choice for a wedding. I'm going to stand by that. So Robin on the couch is like, everyone do your own thing. Have fun. And I might have put a stop to that shoulder corsage thing Mary wanted, but you know what? Whatever. It's weird. I don't know. They make their choices, and then they're done with this part of the planning process. So they're off to the cake tasting, and Cody is there in his lavender shirt, and so the era of Cody's purple shirts begins. But Robin's like, it's his wedding cake. So he should be here too. And yes, yes, this is the wrong place to be justifying Cody's presence here because that makes sense. But Olivia, the cake decorator, does not seem impressed with all of them. And listen, I don't know if I would have been either, if I'm being honest. At one point, Cody tries to steal some of Christine's cake and she slaps his hand. And so he takes Mary's instead. And she's like, oh, I'll give you anything you want, just being kind of funny. And he's like, what a sweet, loving wife you are. Doing two things here. Number one, he is using the word sweet, which we know is something of like a code word or a trigger word in polygamous circles because keep sweet and obey. Secondly, openly noting he's a polygamist, which the wives have been avoiding at every interaction thus far, whether it's getting Robin's Claddagh ring, going to go do the flowers, even when they go dress shopping. They do not openly say anything. And look, you guys may have noticed it before, because I didn't, that only the women seem to try to hide the polygamy thing. Because the second Cody's there with him and the cameras are rolling, it's, hey, here I am. I have 4 women. I'm super cool. I'm not lame at all. I get to be awesome. And you're like, no, bro. No, that's not you. Listen, you know what? The only thing I can say here is that he's being honest about the fact that he's a polygamist. That's all. So Christine simply shoots back to his little dig with, don't touch my chocolate. And I am not someone who likes chocolate, so I can't relate. But my husband assures me, as the chocolate fiend he is, that you do not touch someone's chocolate. Fair enough. And Janelle's like, I don't know what the cake shop employees thought of us, because she's the only self-aware one, apparently. It is very clear Olivia was not thrilled. And Robin's like, I don't care, because we were having fun, and that's what I wanted. So it cuts to her laughing with her hand up her face, and we get a very clear shot of her hand, and she's wearing a band. And then it strikes me, because it looks like a wedding band, right? It doesn't look like a traditional engagement ring. So then it strikes me, I wonder something. When Cody did Caleb and Maddie's wedding, he said, well, polygamists don't really do a ring exchange. And so I wonder, do they just wear the band from the point that someone proposes, like that's what you get? Because I've never noticed the other women wearing anything that seems like a traditional engagement ring. Even trying to watch here, I didn't see anything that looked traditional. So it's like, is it like one ring and done, that exchange is made at the point of the agreement, but not as a specific sign of the covenant, as it would be in most other religious weddings? I don't know what the traditional thing in their church would be, but it would make sense if you're following me. So on the couch, Mary's like, I don't think we're announcing polygamous, except Cody kind of did that in that scene. And Robin's like, well, not unless we all kissed him simultaneously. And Mary's like, well, yeah, that would make it obvious. And the tone was like, that was a stupid thing to say. But Christine suggests they vote on their 2 favorite cakes. And Robin ropes in poor Olivia to do the tally work, because here's the deal. They didn't need to close their eyes. They did not. Open or not, Cody made it super obvious which cake he wanted. At the point when Olivia said, this cake, he was like, you better pick my favorite. Granted, Robin's hand was already up before he said that, and he had 2 hands up. He was not being quiet about it. He said that he was doing both of his votes for this. He whisper said it, you know what I'm saying? And everyone was aware this was his specific choice. So Mary's teasing her like, oh, well, Robin picked his favorite. And she gets really, really defensive about it. And she's like, our eyes were closed. There was a reason our eyes were closed. Robin, chill. He made it clear this was his choice. You had already picked it. Calm down. And Janelle's like, listen, it's not really an us against him kind of thing, because there's 5 people in this. And she stumbles and then laughs. She's like, I had to count. And I was like, I get it. But Robin's like, it's very much a democracy. And Janelle agrees, but it isn't anymore, is it? Because now it's more of a oligarchy? There does seem to be a lot of funds going one direction. I don't know for sure, though. Or, it does kind of feel like that parliamentary government system that Russia had before they got rid of their czar, when he told them that they could say whatever they wanted, but it wasn't going to matter. Maybe something like that. So we cut to a completely different day, and they are finally looking at reception venues. And she's like, yeah, we're a few weeks out. A few weeks to me in my brain translates to 3, and now I'm like, stop. But Cody and Robin have clearly coordinated their ugly brown outfits. And I'm being serious. Brown is not everyone's color, guys. Please stop. But I did go back and look. They're not wearing matching outfits, or they're not matching on the day of the cake testing. But Robin either has awful taste in graphic tees, or in 2009, the only thing that was available, 2010, I'm sorry, were ugly graphic tees. Like, these tees were awful. I genuinely can't remember, though, because I don't remember the trends very well. But I remember styles like Mary's plaid button-down being really in at one point. Because I had a ton of them. When did I have those? Ooh, I feel like I had those in middle school, though, so that would have been, like, about a decade earlier. So Janelle and Cody's outfits look like they're both here on their lunch break, so can we get this done, please? And Janelle shares with the lady from the venue that she doesn't like receptions because they're stuffy, they're formal. She feels like you get a plate of food, you sit at a table, and then that's it. But she's like, I really do like this place. And Robin was like, I was dreading this because I knew that Janelle didn't like the idea. Let's be serious, guys. What she was really dreading was Janelle shutting the whole thing down. Because let's assume that Puddle Monkey paid for part of the wedding, because we've understood that to be the case for every other wedding that was aired on the show, that they paid for part of it. My understanding is that McKelty and Tony paid the additional on theirs, that Aspen and Mitch would have had to pay the additional on theirs. Same with Maddie and Caleb. And then, of course, I'm sure Christine and Robin and Cody. But if she had gone over budget, she was terrified Janelle was going to shut this thing down, because she was already worried about forking over money that the family didn't have to cover it anyway. So I think Robin was more about, I'm not going to get what I wanted unless Janelle gets what she wants. So Christine shares her thoughts on the reception, but we literally just spent weeks on end discussing the differences between her most recent wedding and her first wedding, and why the reception and this and that. Leave the horse alone. It is out in the pasture, and it is already gone. So, I'm going to spare you on that again. But back in the venue, Janelle does admit she was already asking to pull the plug on the reception, and I would bet Christine might have been on her side, because it's just not what polygamous brides do. Of course, Janelle reminds us she didn't even have enough people to come to a reception, let alone actually have one. But she does sort of fail to mention that she's Cody's sort of stepsister. But Christine laughs and she's like, so we're living vicariously through Robin. I am glad she no longer lives vicariously. So suddenly, out of nowhere, Christine's like, look, we could all pole dance on the supports of this pergola. And Janelle is not about to join in. And Cody's standing there in this, like, manly man pose in the middle, like, doing, like, some sort of Heisman trophy. I don't know what this is. And so the venue associate's like, you guys are such a unique group of people. And Mary's like, you have no idea. Babes, she does. She got it already. And Cody's here, so the cat is pretty well out of the bag already, that you guys are a plural family. So then you're like, oh, ha, 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 you have no idea. It's so, we share so much. And Janelle's like, we like to mess with people because we get so much judgment. A couple episodes ago, you were saying that you had to hide it from everyone because of all the judgment. So I don't know. They argue about whether or not the associate knew they were a plural family. And Mary's like, yeah, she knew. And Janelle's like, oh, I wasn't sure. Guys. Robin's like, he could be our gay friend for all they know. And Cody does this, like, little smirk and head tilt to the camera like he's Jim from The Office. I am sure if anyone else had said it, it would have been a blow-up. Just saying. So our next stop is the dress shop. And once again, we have just smashed this poor horse. And so, once again, I said we are not going to keep wailing on this thing. So, brief thoughts, bullet points. The criteria for the wives' dresses is no bridesmaid, no mother of the bride, no mother of the groom. Brown dresses, not attractive. Do not suit any of them. Mary actually looks better in the, like, shocking lime green color than Christine looks in the brown color. And that is crazy to even think about. Janelle says things have balanced out, but they were quite literally arguing in this episode about the amount of time that Robin gets. Cody seems confused on the couch that Mary seems to be more excited for the wedding to be over and to have their lives get back to normal than she is about the actual wedding. Christine sounds very sad when she says that she liked the way things were before and it will never be that way again. And then finally, Cody opens a stupid mouth, lets everything out of the bag. Christine leaves. Cody apologizes. Christine lectures him. We've done that part before. So Robin's all smiles until she realizes the other women are upset. I'm not joking. He's like, I've got a bomb to drop. And she is beaming. If you watch her, because I know that our eyes want to go to the other women because they're upset, or onto Cody because he's giving... She is beaming. But when she finally realizes that people are upset, that changes her jaw tenses. And she is doing that teeth-sucking thing when they all finally come back to the couch. I've heard rumors that that was days later. But she does look like she's crying on the couch when Christine lectures Cody. I don't know if it's just because she's upset or what. So this, instead of the dress horse, I have promised to get to why was I furious when I saw Truly. Hear me out. Truly is a couple of weeks old. She is a newborn. Christine's body is still healing from giving birth and should be at home with her teeny tiny baby, comfortable, resting, and bonding. Instead, she is out here planning a wedding for someone else. Not only is she doing that, she was asked to go on a dress shopping excursion that turned out to not be for real. That turned out to only hurt her feelings, and so instead of being home with her teeny tiny baby healing, now her 15-year-old daughter, who is capable but shouldn't have to, is watching this newborn baby. All for some farce, for some experience, as Robin would put it, that wasn't even legitimate. They pulled the rug out from under her, so I'm upset for Christine. I am angry for Aspen and for Truly, because the children shouldn't have to be home caring for a newborn, and the newborn shouldn't have to be cared for by other children for false pretenses. I hope any of that makes sense, but I just, as a mom, seeing that, if somebody had done that to me when I had teeny tiny babies, when the twins were itty bitty little, because let me tell you, they were itty bitty little. 4 and 5 pounds are not big babies. I'd have been livid. Don't you take me somewhere away from these babies to pretend to do something and then tell me later that it wasn't real. Anyway, that is where the wedding episode ends. Because next week it's the awful brown dress parade. That's what we get there. And by next week I meant there next week. We probably will see that sooner because, I don't know, I like to talk. That's what we do here. So that's really everything I have for this episode. I am catching back up. I've got myself a touch of some sort of sinus thing. You can kind of hear it here. You might be able to hear it in my voice or my throat. It's just kind of lingering. I lost my voice the other day. So if that happens again, things might be delayed, but I'll try to let you know on my community tab. I am going to put up a picture on my community tab later on. Graham has finally settled in and is less nervous about not being right there with somebody. I think he's finally realized he's not going back to the shelter. He lives here now. He finally branched out and for the first time found the sunny spot in the dining room. And it was his first experience just going by himself to the dining room and laying down on the floor and taking a nap. And I couldn't help it. My soul. To see this tiny, oh my gosh, to see this rescue dog finally get his sunlight nap. Oh, it made my heart so happy. So I will put a picture up of that because everybody deserves to see a rescue puppy take his first sunlight nap. So, yeah, I have episode 7. I have all my notes already written, so we'll get that one filmed and get that one out pretty quickly here. Husband has some vacation time upcoming, so I'm gonna, while he's off and can keep the kids not involved with that, I'm gonna watch Daughters of the Cult and get that taken care of so that we can talk about that a little bit. I am anticipating, based off of what I know of the LeBarons, that those videos probably will be demonetized. I know that can affect their reach, so if you have notifications turned on and you don't get a notification, that could be why. If you don't have notifications on and don't see that I've uploaded, that could also be why. So if in fact those ones get demonetized, its reach won't be as great. So either A, turn on the notifications if you want them. I get it. They annoy me too, so I don't always either. Or B, just check back in with me if you see that I haven't uploaded for a while. So that's kind of the schedule of events. I can't wait to see you guys soon. Until the next time, bye!